Good morning, everyone. I am here with Miss Mamie Taylor, who is joining us today here at VCU, and she is running for the 5th District City Council, and I want to say good morning to you.
Good morning to you as well. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, of course. So my first question to you would be why are you running for City Council?
Wow, I'm running for City Council because I love this city. I love this beautiful river city. I'm originally from Washington, D.C., grew up in Maryland area, but I've been here for about 30 years now. I'm very invested. I've mothered here, I've worked here, I have grown here, I've been in politics here, and I just want to give people an opportunity to have access to opportunities. Having worked as a school teacher in Richmond Public Schools, I have realized how it's like a tale of twin cities. Everyone doesn't have access to the same opportunities and the same information. And I want to bring that level of transparency. I think I kind of embody the quote from Dr. King from the Birmingham letter that an injustice to anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And so I want to see the playing field leveled and people having just access to information.
I do want to hit some, bigger issues in regards to the Navy Hill redevelopment plan.
Yes.
And that is kind of like an overhaul for the Coliseum and the surrounding areas. So where do you see yourself in regards to like that plan and the next steps?
Okay, well, I would have to say I am vehemently opposed to the project.
Okay.
As is, I can't see it getting better, but I'm open to being at the table for the negotiations. The power should be in the people's hands. But as far as the deal is concerned, the Navy Hill project, I am opposed to it. I think that it's out of compliance, first and foremost. That means that it has to be a competitive process. One bid on the table is not competitive. So I think we definitively need to go back to the drawing table and start again. Also, having sat at the table with some of the developers, investors, I'm realizing that they're going to pay off the debt for the Coliseum, and I think that having a new Coliseum is fabulous, it's wonderful, it'll enhance our downtown area. But what I've also learned is that they will have ownership of that land, about a 10-block radius. That is concerning because ownership of land, and it belongs to the taxpayers, is everything. I've always been raised that when you own land, you have power, long-term generational power. So that's very problematic to me. Also, the fact that there's no inclusion of education. They get zero parts of the deal. How can you say that you want to see our bond ratings increase and you don't even have enhancements to our educational system? That's problematic for me. So that and many other reasons. Housing, you're pushing out our most vulnerable citizens from public housing. And so it's just so many things and more, but the short answer, no, opposed.
So you did bring up land and ownership, and something that came up earlier in the year was when the mayor brought up to have real estate taxes raised, and that was a proposal that he had, but it did not go through. So in regards to that, what is your approach on balancing the city budget in the area?
Okay, well, I say that it's going to cost, you have to really follow, you have to dig deep in. I'll do it full time, so you have to follow the spending trends to see where the savings can be made. You have to be able to understand that there are surpluses that are included in the budget, i.e. there was a $15.8 million surplus in the budget last year. So I think there are lots of things that can be done, but it's just a matter of being able to have that experience. Having worked on the school board for 4 years, I understand how that process works. I understand how to go line item by line item. I know how you can save money by bringing in skilled workers so that you won't have waste, and just looking for waste overall. So many things, but those things are some of the first places where I'll start.
I know that my questions have been more like citywide issues.
Yes.
But I do want to know, what do you specifically have planned, especially for the people that are in the 5th district?
Wow.
And they might not know very much about you.
Yeah.
But what would you want to tell them if they were sitting right here next to me? What were some of your plans?
Well, I want them to first know that I'm a person who's paying attention. I'm a person who cares, and I'm a person who shares the information that I have. And as I've been paying attention, I've noticed that tax reform is quite necessary. I've been watching how the city has been using our tax dollars to literally buy homes throughout the city. And then they hand those homes over to RRHA, Richmond Redevelopment and Housing Authority. And then they sell the houses at market value. That causes the assessments of our homes to increase. And my opinion is, if you're using our tax dollars even if it is going towards taxes, there should be a way that we should benefit from that. So even though they're not raising our taxes by the penny on the front end, the assessment is raising our money. So I'll look at how that operates in its entirety and find out how I can bring savings back to the citizens of Richmond, especially with assessments. In my specific community, which is the West Swansboro borough area, the assessments have gone up 25% over the last year alone. So that's concerning. Also, the fact of our water taxes. The Chesterfield and Henrico use the same water that Richmond residents use, but at a much lower rate. That's concerning to me, and I want to know how they're getting savings and how I can redirect those as well. So tax reform will be huge for me, and of course the infamous thing that we can all tie together on are our potholes. Potholes are all throughout the city and all throughout the state. We spend billions of dollars. And for me, I want to find long-term solutions. I want to find a way to bring our city employees into the fold as well and increase the morale, enhance the morale within the city. I want to first find housing, since we have so many houses that we're buying without tax dollars, find a way for them to be a part of the same similar program as the teacher next door and the officer next door. Have city workers next door where they actually see the potholes that we're living with and the road infrastructure that we're living with. And instead of outsourcing that work for road infrastructure, train our city workers to do the work, and then we have more accountability because we have those workers right here living in the homes next door to us where we're all a part of the solution. I think that it's one thing to talk about the problem, but I'm a solution-driven individual. That's how I operate. And just to reflect a little bit, to go back a little bit, when I was on the school board, I wrote the first ever equity policy. And that's equal distribution of resources across the division. I tweaked the kindergarten policy, and I myself had the administration put into play the salary decompression that helps teachers move to the next pay grade at a much faster rate and puts money in their pockets. So when I see there's an issue or concern, I find a solution, and I'm effective with that.
And then, so that wraps up my questions, but I do want to know if there's anything else that you want to add. You definitely can. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Again, thank you so much for having me. This has been a wonderful experience, and thank you for giving me access to all of your watchers and listeners. I would just like to say that I am truly a woman of transparency. What I see, I make sure that the people have access to that same information. That level of transparency is really needed. Having worked in political office, having that experience, I think I'm one of the few that brings that to the table. I've been exposed to the conversations behind closed doors, and it's very telling and it's very intentional. And I want to change that whole face of the political arena. I think that people can handle the truth, and I want to bring that level of honesty that you rarely see in politics. I want to be that person who's been on the school board, been an educator in Richmond Public Schools, but actually prioritizes the schools. When you see someone say, we're giving the school $5 million, $6 million, but you're willing to put $1.5 billion on the table for a project that most people won't even benefit from. I mean, Tom Farrell himself said at a meeting, we don't want you all going to our hotels that are $200 a night that we want to build. This is for people from out of town. Well, if I can't appreciate what you're bringing to the table, then that's problematic. I mean, we have the baseball diamond that they were talking about bringing to the table costing us. We have the Redskins that was just basically, it didn't go where it was supposed to go. I want to make sure that we have projects that are coming to the table that benefit the constituency within Richmond Public Schools. I want to see VCU students, I have a daughter who's in college, that they're walking around campus feeling safe. There are too many incidents that happen, and I want to make sure that we have people in place and resources in place where they can walk from one location to another and not worry about high crimes. So anything that impacts you, if it's important to you, is important to me. And I want people to know that I will always be your ears and I will always be your voice.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for being a part of the conversation and being truthful. And again, thank you guys for watching, and you have a great day.